Today we'll be reviewing the Casio calculator, one of a very interesting pieces of technology that we have had in the past years. This was before, of course, smartwatches and everything. It's a very interesting watch because I wish they would have continued making these kind of watches like the ones that had games. I remember in elementary, one of my friends had a walkie-talkie watch, and we got in trouble for being disruptive in class. But I really enjoy these kinds of things, and this right here is one of those things. I remember when all your teachers would be like, "Oh, you're not gonna have a calculator on you all the time." What about this? This right here is on me all the time. My wife ended up getting this to me for my birthday, and ever since then, I think about a year and a half ago or 2 years, and ever since then I've been using it. It's very comfortable. It's, of course, plastic strap, the metal in the back. It is waterproof. That's one thing that I do enjoy. Usually throughout the day, I am involved with a lot of numbers. So of course, you're able to see it, see the time, and of course, the day right here, which is Thursday, and you're able to see the day as well. So 2020, January 2nd. The only downside, and this kind of reminds me of that, the scene from Spy Kids where he has that watch and it has everything, but it can't tell the time because there wasn't any space. So I feel like this one is the same thing. It has all these interesting functions, but there's no light. It doesn't have any light, so at night I can't see it. So that's a downside. Everything else seems pretty good. Of course, if you could see, you have the full numerical layout as well. You do have the let me see, this is plus, times, minus, and of course division, and you have the equals and the decimal point as well. You're able to do pretty good calculations, and it's pretty responsive. The only thing is that if you have larger fingers, it might not work as well, but even then, the buttons are very small, but it's very you could push them, and it just, so that's plus 4, and of course, there you go. If you have maybe with the nails, you could probably push it, but yeah, that is a downside, that putting on your wrist. Here, let me show you guys. So when I put on my wrist, you're able to, it's a pretty good view, but if you have larger hands or you're a larger person as well, it is a small screen. That is kind of the downside, but it's pretty good in terms of displaying functions and everything like that. But yeah, that is one downside, because one of my cousins, he's like 6 something, and this watch on him is like a little toy, and he's not able to push the buttons. So that is one downside, is that if you have larger hands, it is a little harder to actually put the functions, but it does pretty good. So we'll review really quick. So of course the calculator, and then you have time calculator, you have the alarm. Alarm works pretty well as well. Haven't had any issues. It's pretty loud. You're able to set the time and everything. For this, of course, you click the button down here, and here's the interesting thing. Usually the other watches, you go through every single one of them, but in this case, you just put in, let's say for example, each one of the digits are able to be customized. So we could put for 10, of course you can't put 15, but 12 and 1, 5, and of course, let's say for example, I don't want it, I want it at 2, like I had it at 6, 15, so we're done. So just want to go ahead and click it, and you're done. And in this case, I don't want the alarm to go off, but it is there. It is here. And of course, we'll click it again. This is additional time as well. You're able to put a different time. So you have 2 time zones, or 2 different times that you're able to put on here, and they work pretty well. So if you're traveling a lot, it works really well. Of course, you have your stopwatch and everything. So yes, so this is a review. It has 4 functions. They all work pretty well. There's nothing big to it. It's a nice piece of technology. a very nice novelty set to have. I haven't had any issues with it, and I use it daily. And I mean daily. I've even used it swimming. I haven't taken it to the beach, but I've used it washing my hands, you know, showering as well. It's a great piece. If you're able to get a hold of one of them, I'd really recommend. They're fun. It's of course you will have people asking like, why aren't you using your phone? So I met up with a couple of friends and they were making fun of me because it's like, wait, you have a watch on your phone too? And I told them, yeah, but you know, I like having it on my wrist. And they're like, yeah, but you know, you could use a lot, you could have more functions on the calculator watch, the calculator on your phone than this, and you have to continue pressing. I told them, hey, you know, I have it. If my phone dies or anything, it's there. And you know, I've always liked items that have additional options. So this is a great idea. You know, you have the calculator and you have a watch as well, all mixed into one. Great idea. Like I mentioned, I would just wish they had so many more different products like this. Everything's becoming very standard, and I really would like to see additional things. Maybe a watch that has with other stuff, like the watches that had games. Those were amazing. Pass the time, you know. Of course, they were hard and difficult in some sense, but they did the job, you know. Pass the time. It was pretty good. One of the things I would say, Casio, next time you do create one of these, please put a light into it. It would really help out, because if you don't have a light, you have to kind of glare at it or try and find some kind of way to show the time, and the screen, you know, isn't that well lit if it's cloudy. So if it's, you know, cloudy, you can't, you know, it's a little harder to see. But that's my only downside. Additionally from that, go ahead and get one. They're amazing, and I would recommend getting one.